Okay, hey guys, ItchyTasty06 is back for another video, and what else would I be covering right now other than The Last of Us? I just finished this game last night and it is absolutely amazing. Of course, it is a PlayStation exclusive, so if you have a Xbox, that's your problem, and I'm not even sorry about that. But let's move on. Alright, so the story, The Last of Us, is absolutely amazing. It is by far the best story I have ever played in a video game. It's really good. I loved it, actually. A lot of people are confusing it to be horror, and it's not really a horror game, it's a survival game. So of course there's going to be limited resources and limited ammo and limited everything. So the people that are complaining, I'm sorry, you're just getting a little too spoiled, and I was too, and it took me maybe a chapter or two to realize that, but whatever. I also like how the crafting, when you're crafting your stuff, there was no pause. Like, it's in real time. You're being covered by other people while you craft bombs and stuff. The controls was another thing. It was hard for me at first to get used to them, but once I got used to them, I absolutely loved them, including the weapons menu. It became very natural to me. So after a while, I love the controls. The one thing that the game stands out from the rest is the bonding between the characters and the bond that you obtain or get for the characters. It's nothing like I've ever experienced before. I have never experienced a game where they connect so well and then you connect with them, and to the point where the beginning, the opening of The Last of Us, I cried my eyes out. Yes, of course I'm an emotional person, but still, it was weird to have a game where in the first 10 minutes you're so attached to the characters that you cry. So yeah. With the notes, you find notes just like in a lot of the other games. You find notes, pictures, journal entries, posters, everything like that. It adds to the game. I've always loved them. It tells you more about the story, and it tells you more about what happened in the story. So I love them, and they did a really good job on blending that with the story, and some of them were really quite, if you found them, you're just like, oh my god. So yeah. Clothing was another one for me. It really bothers me in cartoons, and yes, I know why they do it, but it bothers me when clothing never changes. But The Last of Us actually did something different, where throughout certain chapters and different seasons in the game that they have, the characters are wearing different clothing to match what's going on, or just something different, and I found it really interesting, and I really liked how they did that. General direction where to go. Sometimes, especially if you're like me, you noticed it a little bit more. I'm a hoarder when it comes to my supplies, so I'm checking every crack and crevice for anything I can get my greedy little hands on. So every once in a while, L3 would pop up and you could press it and it would just look away and tell you where you need to go. I thought it was a nice little feature, especially if you kind of forgot what was going on. You're like, oh crap, I kind of got confused. I thought it was a nice little add-on. Between the humans and the infected, I found there to be a great balance of the two. Of course, it's 20 years after the infection, so it's not just infected that you're fighting. You're also fighting humans, different types of humans. So they had a really good balance between the two that were going on, and because you're fighting two different things, you had two different fighting skills. What I could use on the infected, I could not use for the humans. It just didn't mesh in the same way, and it didn't always work in the way that it would work for the other. So I always had to think of different and be creative in the ways that I would sneak around and kill everybody, honestly. The conversations between the AIs I found very interesting. You found it a lot during the entire game with your allies, where you're just talking and you're learning more about the story and learning more about each other, and it actually really helped with the bonding between the characters and you and the characters. But you also saw it with the enemy. So if you're in an area and you're hiding, the enemy are actually in a little group and they're talking about their days and what's been going on and what they don't like, and it was really interesting how they did it, and it actually brought you more into the game. Another thing I have never experienced with a game, you were so wrapped up into, it seemed almost real. And that's one of the things that I really love about this game. So yeah, let's keep going. I'm glad, I know some of my friends had a problem with this, but I'm glad it wasn't an issue. I thought it was a positive personally. My AI allies, when I go to hide because someone's coming and their ass is sticking out, I'm glad I wasn't busted for that, because I would have been pissed. Also, when Ellie was glitching back and forth, if I would have been spotted for that, I would have been mad. So I'm really glad that I wasn't spotted for stupid stuff like that. I'm glad I didn't have to literally pull her on the shoulders and drag her into a trash can. So, yeah. Another thing was the stealth. I have tried multiple of times to play stealth games, and this is the first stealth game that I was actually ever able to get through, and I was very proud of myself, and I have a newfound respect for stealth games because of this game, and I'm actually going to go back and try to replay some of those games. It was very crafty, and I don't know how their other ones are like, but I loved it, so I'm going to try to play more stealth games because of this. The listening ability I found to be a very good thing. I absolutely loved it, and I used it throughout the entire game. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. What I did like about it was, especially with the humans, because the infected are noisy assholes and you can always see them with your listening ability, but with the humans, when they're hiding or when they're being sneaky, you can't really see them, if at all. So I really liked how they did that, where you can't just press it and, oh, there he is, he's over there hiding. No, he has to actually be moving for you to see him, especially during the winter scene when that guy was chasing you. Yeah, that sucked. Ellie, I love her. She is by far one of the greatest characters I've ever had in a video game, and I had such a connection with that little girl, and she was such a strong girl. Okay, she was a very strong character, I'll put it that way, and it was something that I was very surprised with a 14-year-old character. Very strong, very independent, and I don't know, I loved Ellie, and I loved her character, and I especially loved her with when the battle scenes, when Joel would kill somebody, and just her witty little comments. I love them. I seriously believe, though, that with the story of this game, how you connected with the characters and how the characters connected with each other, I believe that other games will be based or judged compared to how this game was. If that makes any sense. I think I worded it wrong, but I believe that. So there were my positives on the games. So I absolutely loved it. Yeah. Okay. Negative things. Right off the bat, I hated the trophies. You must, for most, actually I think all of the trophies except for one hidden trophy, all of them are, you must obtain all of this. So yes, I have a lot of tags in the game, but I beat the game with 2 trophies. Other than that, you have 8 different playthroughs for the game, unless you play on Survivor first. You'd have to, yeah, see it. So you have your easy, normal, hard, and Survivor that you each have to play with that, and New Game Plus, which kind of bothered me. The swimming controls were not that easy to maneuver. I wish they would have spent a little bit more time on his controls for his swimming. It was very weird, and it took a lot getting used to, and by the end of it I was very annoyed with his swimming. It just sucked, actually. It could have been also done with a few more puzzles. I liked the amount, but I wish there was a little bit more, because it seemed like other than the sneaking around, oh god darn it, other than the sneaking around, there wasn't much of puzzle-based stuff throughout the game. Also more infected variants. More infected variants. There were the clickers, your stalkers, your runners, and your bloaters. I just feel that after that amount of time, there should have been a couple of, or could have been, a couple of more different types of infected beings, animals, whatever. And I also believe that the stalkers and the runners were too close. There wasn't very much to differentiate the two, and it wasn't until the end of the game that I realized that there was a difference between the two. So, yeah. The AI enemies also bothered me because when I first started playing the game, I would go up and I'd sneak behind an enemy and I would grab him. I actually walked behind something before I would kill them, not realizing that the person 6 feet in front of me wouldn't know that I was killing him, even though he's kicking and screaming. So I thought that the ignorance, or not really ignorance, but the fact that they didn't know, I don't know, I thought it was kind of annoying that they weren't aware of their surroundings a little bit more. They were just kind of stupid, stealth-wise, yeah. While I was actually thinking of negative things in the game, I messaged one of my third keys at GameStop and asked him his opinion because he's beaten the game as well. And his complaint was that he tried carrying the ladder like Joel does in the game, and he said that it is the stupidest way to do it. And Alan, because you tried that, you are my hero. You really are. That was it was really quite funny and beautiful. But regardless of the negatives, the game was absolutely beautiful, stunning, awesome. I cannot wait to replay it as soon as I get done with this video. It was just a great game altogether, and if you have not picked it up yet, I don't know what's stopping you. You should really go pick it up. It was amazing. So yeah, that's my video. Altman be praised. Bye guys.